When you say TV presenter, I think television has been an integral part of our lives ever since childhood. So you're obviously going to have a camera which is going to take the master shot, which is basically there's a presenter and then there is an expert and there are 2 or 3 people more in the panel. There's going to be a master camera which is going to capture the entire setting from a wide angle, and then there are some of these smaller cameras which are going to capture only you, or rather only your face, which kind of keeps moving from one person to another person. So now, as and when which camera is being used, there's a very small light above the camera which kind of lights up. Now, you are the MC, you're talking to someone. If you're talking to someone, obviously you have to look at that person and talk. At the same time, you're not just talking to your fellow panelist, but you're also addressing the TV audience. So you have to look at the person you're talking to. You have to also look at the camera so that the TV audience also feels that you're talking to them. And somewhere in the middle of all this, you also need to keep a track on which camera's light is on and which camera's light is off. So that you know that, are you in the frame or not at that particular moment in time. So that technical know-how also is something which is very important. After you have completed recording a program, you might discover that a particular question which you initially thought was relevant is not sounding relevant anymore. So then you might have to cut off some of the portions from there. So that post-production editing part is also there, which you have to be as part of. And and then that's pretty much how the day goes. Also, one important part of a day in the life of a TV presenter is scripting, because most of the television anchors, they like to script their own shows. So obviously it's a very long process. For example, sharing my story, I do this talk show with Doordarshan. So I am required to sync up with, there's one guy who is an expert, and then it's a program primarily for the youth. So one person comes in as the expert, and then you have got a couple of young boys and girls. So my task is to sync up with all of them and then develop the script accordingly. And then I am the person who has to tell them that, you know what, this is going to be the flow of the program, and this is the question that I'm going to ask you. Or and then this is the time you have to come up with your own questions. So that entire scripting has to be done. So a good part of my time every day is also spent on scripting the session well. I feel that if you script it well, Joanna, 70% of the task is done. They recognize me when I'm outside, and that I feel really good about. And then you start thinking that you really feel good about your decision. And that actually puts more responsibility on you, because next time you are recording, you tell yourself and you feel that you owe it to that person who walked up and recognized you and told something good to you, and you want to do it even better next time. So yeah, I would like to believe that somebody who's really serious about television broadcasting or television presenting right from the start would probably go for a different degree altogether, probably a mass communication degree or a degree in journalism. That I would feel is a more natural way of going towards this particular career path. That I think, as long as you have the gift of the gab, you will see yourself taking up opportunities. In school and college, so many opportunities are given to students to come up to the stage and talk, do emceeing or do hosting for functions and events. I think that's where it starts from. And then you kind of get better and better at it. And then finally, you reach a stage where you are able to take up television presenting. And now within television presenting also, there are primarily 2 divisions. One is obviously people who are doing it for the first time. They usually provide recorded function opportunities. They usually don't put new television MCs straight away into live, because a live requires you to have comparatively more presence, so as to speak. When you start your career as a television presenter, there are primarily 2 parts to it. What we call as, one part is the aesthetic part, and the other part is the technical part. And I think as a television presenter or as a television host, your primary primarily your work is on towards the aesthetic part, which is in front of the camera, and look good in front of the camera. But I think you also need to have a little bit of know-how about the technical part, which is what kind of cameras are being used and which camera is kind of used for what kind of a function. You obviously know about Mayanti Langer. She's a very popular cricket host and anchor. You will usually see her, being the host in all the IPL matches. And also she covers Indian cricket matches as well. So Mayanti Langer has tied up with Rajasthan Royals, the IPL team, and with Deakin University. And these three people have come together to put together a broadcasting course. Now that broadcasting course actually has covered the technical side in a very nice way. And I found that really helpful when it came to me. So that's just one example out of many other courses that one can potentially explore. If you are someone who has the gift of the gab, because see, the thing is that today I can think in my mind that I want to be a television presenter. You can't straight away be a television presenter. Nobody's going to give that opportunity right away to you. As long as you have the gift of the gab, as long as you have got presence, you can call it stage presence, you can call it camera presence, as long as you have knowledge, which is something very important for a television presenter. You never know what knowledge that you have gained from what book you have read 10,000 years ago will suddenly come back and help you out in a particular situation when you are in a TV show. So I actually would suggest everybody to read a lot, because that helps you with two things. Number one, it helps you with building up knowledge. And number two, is also helps you to build up your vocabulary, which is something very important for any television presenter. For that technical knowledge, I would advise people to check out some courses online, just to understand that what is the technicality behind TV broadcasting, what kind of cameras are used, what type of processes are used when a television show is being produced, what are the steps that lead to a television show being produced, who are the various people who are involved in making a television show. That knowledge I think you should have as a TV host. If you talk about traits that make a successful TV presenter, I think the number one criteria is that you have to be passionate about what you are doing, because it's the passion that kind of comes through. You have to be passionate about talking to the people who appear along with you in the show. You have to get to know those people, and that is something, Joanna, that I've always strongly believed ever since I've done emceeing or anchoring for the last 10-11 years. You have to be a voracious reader. I think you can see this particular bookshelf which is behind me. It's stacked up with books in English, Hindi and Bangla. Because as I said that, there is no telling when what you have read at what point in your life will suddenly help you out when you are in a TV presentation. So read a lot is something I would like to advise everybody. And another trait that the person should definitely have is vocal training, or making sure that you are training your voice each and every day, because it requires dedication, it requires discipline. So yeah, discipline in itself is actually a trait that should be there. It is very important for anybody who's in front of the camera to stay in the present. The last thing that you want before you step inside the TV studio is to remember what fight you had with your wife the previous night, or what thing your mother was nagging you with, because the moment such kind of things stay on in your mind, it affects your performance in front of the camera. Sometimes you will encounter some people who will bring your energy down, and sometimes you will find people who will bring your energy up. It is simply how life is. We can't really do anything about it. But as a television presenter, you have to keep one thing in mind, that when this program is getting recorded and finally people will see it on TV, they don't know what kind of people you were dealing with on the studio floor. They don't know how your previous day has been. They don't know what happened with you 5 minutes before you enter the TV studio. They don't know all of that. Sometimes what happens is when you're when you have gone to the studio floor, we keep talking about bad hair days, right? Um,
Yeah.
So I think that also happens. Like some days you simply will not be at your best. I mean, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you put your effort, you simply will be down. You are not at your best. It's bound to happen. One fine day, suddenly you will see that your program um, has been cancelled. Some other program has been given precedence over your program. One fine day, you will suddenly see that some other MC has come and taken your spot. Or people might have spoken to you, people might have interacted with you about a particular program, and then you don't hear from them for the next 2 to 3 months, and then you're left wondering that what happened, did I make a mistake, should I reach back to them again? So it's very easy in such circumstances, Joanna, to feel a little bogged down, and then you feel um, you start questioning yourself. These kind of challenges will exist in the entertainment industry. You have to look at the next opportunity that is there for you, take that up and continue. You have to make sure that you are there on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn also gives you a platform where whatever work you have done, you can also post the relevant links over there so that it's there for everybody to see. I think doing that consistently, informing people of what work you have been doing on a regular basis is very important part of it. And if I have to select 3 platforms, definitely Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I think anybody who aspires to be a television presenter must make maximum use of these 3 platforms and build their personal brand. If somebody is starting out as a television broadcaster, I think one can expect to make around 15 to 20K in a month. That is the starting, pay scale. It also kind of depends on the city, because I told 15 to 20K for Calcutta for TV, for starting out as a TV broadcaster. But then if you look at some of the other metropolitan cities, if you look at Delhi, if you look at Bombay, if you look at Hyderabad and Bangalore, they are not metropolitan cities, so as to speak, but they've actually, they are the fastest growing cities in India right now. So in the Kannada industry, or even in the Telugu industry, I would like to assume that this pay scale is much higher over there. You also kind of need to avoid stagnancy. You somehow started with a channel, you started with a particular program, and then if you end matters there, that is the end of your growth. You have to constantly also look that if you can also work with other channels, if you can take up more number of programs. So that, see, it's all a game of how your ability, your skill, your eagerness to do more, your eagerness to explore various channels. I think if that fire is there, if that drive is there, you will be increasing that pay scale gradually as you continue.